this is Mary from Growing Puppies, and hello to all my schnoodle friends and families. One of the scariest parts of most people taking a new puppy home is the idea that, oh my goodness, now begins the potty training. Potty training a puppy can be such a daunting task that some people may not even get a puppy at all. They may decide that's just too much for me right now in my life. And truly it does, you do have to bring a puppy home at a time when you can spend at least a week or two to be able to get your puppy situated in their new area, and make sure he's acclimatized. 1 week, 3 is okay too, but you should have someone come and help you out if you're going to be leaving your puppy any longer than that. But so here's a little 8-week puppy. This puppy goes home in a few hours, and he is a schnoodle, as you know, and this is his pen area. He's here with his sister who goes home tomorrow. And your pen at home might look something like this. This one might be a little bigger than you would want at first, but I have here this pine pellet tray that they can use when we're not taking them outside. And this other plastic tray is also helpful. They do sometimes use that. And I put them both just because when the pellets fall out of the pine pellet tray, then it has something to catch it, so it won't get spread all over. Though, as you can see, there are little bits of sawdust on the floor because they do inevitably get dragged around. So that funny shaped bowl there is the white one, is a water bowl. It helps the, I put it up a little bit higher so the pine pellets don't get knocked into the bowl. And then I usually have food available for these little puppies to make sure that they're getting lots of food. And I also provide them with lots of little things to chew on, like you see here, because they're teething. So let's get on with our potty schedule, which is what you're here for. So, okay, to be successful with a potty schedule, you must have confinement. There's a few elements here. You have your confinement carrier, which you might move to different parts of the house, and you also have your confinement pen. So that carrier might be a wire crate, it might be the plastic crate like this one, or there are other new and improved versions that have come on the market that are also good. But I have a video about different types of carriers you can use. But this video is about the schedule. So we will move over here now to the schedule, which I have posted. So I've color-coded this schedule, and every one of those lines on this schedule, that's my bird clock, everybody, likes to always chime in the middle of my video. So I'll wait a second here. Okay. All right, so here you see the potty training schedule for an 8-week puppy, and it begins at 7 a.m. Your time with your puppy is not going to begin at 7 a.m. Your time is going to begin when you bring your puppy home. And I don't recommend that anyone start this whole schedule in earnest right away, because you really just want to spend the first days letting your puppy get used to their new space and feel secure with you and their space. And you will take your puppy outside, you will take him to his potty tray, you will keep him in his pen, and you will play with him, but you don't need to worry about this schedule because things are going to be a little bit off, especially if you've been flying with your puppy and you've had a long day with your puppy is not going to be is going to be off his schedule. But what I do recommend is you try to keep your puppy active at the end of the day so that he's exhausted by 11 p.m. if that's the time you go to bed, or whatever time you're going to bed. Just make sure the puppy is playing for the hour or two before bedtime so he'll be tired when you're ready to go to bed. So for me, that's 11 p.m. The last thing I do in the day with my new puppy is I take the puppy to the potty spot. Again, whether it's the tray, it might be the lawn. I usually don't walk to the actual potty spot in the yard because it's 11 p.m. at night. So I'm going to choose an area where it's very bright, and so I might just take him out to the front lawn where it's the brightest. Or if it's bad weather, you might just choose the potty tray. That's fine too. So you put your puppy on the potty tray or potty spot, and your puppy will use the potty, and then you just go upstairs with your carrier. Which, I can say this is a carrier that I do carry up the stairs, put right next to my bed, put the puppy in the carrier. I put my puppy in there with a little snuggle puppy. You can also wrap up a warm water bottle, or put a hand warmer inside of a towel. It's a good idea to put the puppy's little blanket that he came home from the breeder with in there too, so that he has something very familiar. And as you see, I keep their carrier also in their pen during the day, because they often walk in there and take naps in there, and so it's very familiar to them. It's not like they've seen their crate for the first time, their first night when they're going to bed. That's been with them all day. So I keep them with them all the time, and they use it through the day as well. So I put that next to the bed, and we go to sleep. The lights are out. The puppy often wakes up around 3 p.m. That's the norm I'm finding around here. That my new puppies will wake up when I put them to bed at 11. I take them to use the potty real quick. I can just hear them usually just rustling about a bit, or I hear the cage door rustle a bit, and I just don't wait for them to cry. I just go over, pick them up, put them on the potty tray. They go potty. I put them right back in their crate. I close the door. I don't make any noise or say anything, because I'm keeping everything very quiet. My husband's sleeping. He doesn't wake up. Nobody else in the house is aware of what's happening. And I go right back to bed. The puppy's as tired as I am, and he goes right back to bed. So then he will sleep until morning. Now, 7 a.m. is a sample time that your puppy might wake up. It might be 6:30, it might be 6 o'clock, but you pretty much will do the same kind of thing as this here on the schedule. So the puppy rustles, you're still sleeping, or maybe you have to get up, maybe your alarm gets up. Either way, you get up, you take your puppy, put him on the potty tray, say go potty. When he goes potty, you say yay, and then you put your puppy back in the crate, and then you go and you do what you need to do. I usually will dress or shower and brush my teeth and do all that kind of stuff right at that time, and the puppy's safe. He's not running around. I don't let him run around the bathroom. I just let him stay in his crate. That's the best thing for long term. I'm not going to spoil him or think, oh, he's not capable of this, because he is capable of it. And all my puppies have done this. They just stay in their little crate until I am done showering and getting ready. If your puppy does whine or make any noise, you just ignore it, because you've got to get ready. It's not going to do you any good to start a habit of playing with your puppy when you need to get dressed and get yourself out the door. So after you have got yourself ready, then we're at 7:30. It may take you a little more time. If that's the case, maybe you woke up a little earlier than 7. But so here it is. It's now 7:30, and you're going to feed and water your puppy. I recommend that you measure out a 1/4 cup of food, and that you wash your water bowl and give your puppy fresh water, because the bacteria starts to grow in the bowl overnight and throughout the previous day. So you always start your day with fresh water, and put a measured amount of feed in there, because you want to make sure you know how much your puppy is eating these first few days. Then usually within 30 minutes, your puppy will need to go potty again. So that's why it's important for you to feed and water your puppy in their carrier or in their pen. I usually just put their food and water in their pen for the first several days. You can also choose to hand feed your puppy some wet food. I do recommend taking a 1/2 cup of your kibble, wetting it with another 1/2 cup or 3/4 cup of water, putting it in the refrigerator and leaving it there so that it's very soft, and then you can take that out to feed your puppy, and it's a little more appetizing than dry kibble, because it's going to have a little more flavor, a little bit more smell, and it's going to be softer. And so when your puppy's newly adjusting to your home, he might not want to eat at first. That's very common. Okay, so you have fed and watered your puppy, and that usually takes at least 10 minutes or so. and then you can take your puppy out. He will need to potty again. And so take him to the potty tray again, if that's what you're doing, and maybe you live in an apartment. Or if for most people, you will take your puppy outside to the potty place, and that you'll pick your puppy up and carry your puppy, because he's not going to know, you just can't, he's not going to be able to hold it that long if he starts running across your floor. It's not, eventually he will get to that place where he will just follow you out to his potty spot, but that's not going to happen for a little bit, probably several weeks at least. But for these first several weeks, you definitely want to carry your puppy to the potty spot. And then after your puppy has gone pee-pee, within 5 to 10 minutes, your puppy will probably go number 2. That's normally the thing. Don't ever just walk in after he's gone pee-pee, because your puppy will need to do both. So I do recommend, especially in the summer months, that you play with your puppy outside for a little while, just to make sure he's done both number 1 and 2. And in the summer months, that'll be a big advantage to you, that you can stay outside for that for a little longer for playtime, and make sure the puppy is gone number 1 and 2. So here you see I have color coordinated each of the actual activities. So playtime, you see, lasts a period of time. And you should, if you bring your puppy inside, which again, this morning you might have to get your breakfast and do things, make sure your puppy is in a safe space, but he doesn't have to be in his pen during playtime. Playtime might be he's running around the kitchen and you're just sort of keeping an eye on him, but you must not let your puppy have free reign of the whole first floor. He has to still be in a confined space where you can watch him. And so maybe he's kind of running around your feet in the kitchen while you're making your breakfast, or maybe you're going to wait and do his breakfast when he's at his rest time a little later. That's kind of your call, what you want to do. But playing with your puppy right now is a good time, because you really want your puppy to get tired out at this time. This is his activity time where he needs to expend his energy. And if your puppy plays a good amount, then he'll be ready for the next space of time, which is his rest period. I should mention that when you get a new puppy, he will not know how to walk on a leash. That is something you will train him to do. He will not know how to even have a leash on. If you put one on, he's likely going to chew on it. So don't expect your puppy to be going on walks, long walks especially. A little puppy has to have short walks in the very beginning, just walking around the yard or walking around your house with you on leash, but you should not expect your puppy to go walking up the block and doing these long walks right off the bat. That's going to be too much. And if you watch your puppy and his progress, you will know when he's able to take longer walks. But this time at 8 weeks is still a little too young for this puppy. So, and you played with your puppy, and now it's rest time. You see there's a lot of rest time. Little puppies are growing and they need a lot of time to rest. So that's great, because you can get some things done, but you do need to always put your puppy in their pen at rest time. Maybe your puppy's playing in the kitchen and then he just climbs in his bed on his own. Maybe you have your pen in the kitchen and he walks in there. Do you close the door? Well, if he's starting to take his nap, then yes, you do. Always close the door if your puppy's taking a nap. So if he starts his playtime a little early, maybe he tired himself quickly, let him go ahead and rest. And don't ever wake a sleeping puppy if you can help it. If you don't need to, don't wake him up, because he needs that rest. He needs to grow. So, just like a baby will cry if he's overexerted and if he's so agitated that he's not getting a nap when he should. Your puppy might start crying when it's his nap time. And if it says on the schedule that it's time for him to rest, that would be why, because it's time for him to sleep. And just like a baby, when you put a baby in a crib, you can't always just put a baby in a crib and walk away. No, that usually doesn't work. What I usually do is I'll take a little puppy Kong, which I'll show you what a puppy Kong looks like. There's one right here in the pen here. So let's see here. How do I get this in the? Fine. Oh, here it is over here. Sorry. Oh yeah, so this here is a little puppy Kong. They're very soft rubber. I will often put kibble in this and then have a bunch of these in the freezer ready to go. Or if it's a brand new puppy, you just want to make it real easy for him, just put little pieces of wet kibble in here. And then always have something like that to give to your puppy when you put him in his pen for his rest period, just because that'll give him something to chew on and distract him so that he settles down. Because going from a lot of activity to just taking a nap sometimes can be a little distracting. And certainly if you put your puppy in your pen and then just walk away, your puppy's going to see you walking away and he's going to cry because he's going to think you're leaving him. Better for your puppy to see you, because he has to learn that you're there and you're going to come back for him. And that little bit of trust takes a little bit of time to develop. So I usually plan to stay near my puppy's pen for the first few days. So if you have your puppy's pen in a place like the kitchen or a family room off the kitchen or someplace where you spend a lot of time, if you're working, you might put it in your office. So again, here we go. The puppy has had a nice rest period of time. He's sleeping and now he wakes up. When your puppy wakes up from his nap, he will need to use the potty right away. That is a consistent thing that always comes after rest time. So you can see on the schedule all throughout the day, the first thing we do after a rest period is we take the puppy out to potty. If it's not quite, let's see, on the schedule here it says that your rest period ends at 3:15. If it's not quite 3:15, maybe it's 3 o'clock and your puppy starts crying, he's been napping, he will often cry when he needs to potty. So just assume, oh, he needs to potty sooner than the schedule had indicated. Every puppy is going to be a little individual, so listen to that. If your puppy wakes up and cries, well then yeah, take him out to go potty. That's something he needs. And then again, you see that there's the playtime. Now, the puppy will probably just go pee-pee at this time because he didn't eat any food. So a puppy, after he's had food and water, will always go number 1 and 2. But if he just has had water, then he's not going to need to go number 1 and 2. I will mention that I always keep food and water in a new puppy's pen. So during their rest time, if after they were playing, for instance, if they got thirsty from running around, there would be water in the pen for the puppy, because I just want to make sure they're hydrated. And you can take the food and water away as the puppy gets older. I just sort of feel with an 8-week puppy, especially because I live in a very hot climate where it's very hot in the summer, it's very important to me to know my puppies are properly hydrated. So I just keep the food and water in the pen, and that doesn't seem to mess up my potty schedule. Especially they're young, so their schedule is a little bit looser. But again, yeah, this is the schedule. So they will play, and as you see on schedule, they will have food and water. After food and water, in about 30 minutes, they will need to potty. And then here we go straight from potty to rest. That's because about this time, most of us are eating dinner and we're cleaning up. And the puppy can play in their pen if they need to have a little bit of activity, but they did have that activity before, so they should be tired at this point. If they're not, playing in their pen is okay. And then as you see, this is, when I say rest, that means they're in their confinement space. It doesn't mean that they have to sleep. So then they potty, and then they have their water only. At the end of the day, you're not feeding them again. Though a brand new puppy usually eats about 4 times a day. So within these other periods, with a little bit of kibble in their pen, they will get other little bits of food throughout the day. And then again, as I mentioned before, your puppy will play at the end of the day. So keep your puppy active. Don't let the puppy be in his pen sleeping before bedtime. You need him to be ready for bed at 11 o'clock. So yeah, this schedule is very effective. As your puppy gets older, you will need to increase the play time and decrease the rest time because your puppy will be more active and need less rest. So basically the blue periods on this schedule will increase, whereas the green pieces on the schedule will decrease. And so that's how you will adjust this. Now also, you will note that this day starts at 8 a.m. Of course, if you're starting at 6 a.m., then just move everything up a little bit. If you get up at 6 and your day ends at 11, then all you need to do is just add a little bit of more time in the beginning of the day, and then fit everything in from there. But as your puppy gets older, this schedule will definitely change. As I say, eventually they will only have food and water twice a day, and that usually comes, I believe around 5 to 6 months. And you will notice that their potty needs will decrease a great deal once they're only eating twice a day. But I don't encourage you to push that any earlier. Because when they're younger, their system is such that they do need to eat more often. If they don't eat more often, then they might get hypoglycemia. They have little tiny stomachs, but they have a big appetite when they're growing, so that's why you need to feed them more often. Now, there are recommendations for how much to feed. Just understand that puppies are growing and there is no one way. If your puppy is still hungry, do not force the puppy to eat less than he is ready to eat. It's like if you put down a 1/4 cup at the food time and your puppy eats the 1/4 cup, then good, he ate the full amount, but go ahead and give him some more. That's okay if he eats more. Just pay attention to how much he's eating a day. Maybe you'll measure out a 1.25 cups at the beginning of the day, and then at the end of the day, if he's still needing a little more, then throw a little more in there. Likewise, there will be days when your puppy is not growing as quickly and he might eat less. So, don't freak out either. Some people will put chicken broth on their puppy's food to help make it more appetizing at times when their puppy doesn't seem to be eating as much, and that's okay. So I'm going to possibly put a link to where you can find this schedule on my website, but I might, because it seems like it's a lot of times to write out in a description box, and that would be difficult for you to translate anyway. So I'm just going to slowly move this down. So if you are making notes, you can make notes of the times that are listed here. And I do recommend that you print this out in color with all these times listed, because then you get a sense of, if it just says 8:15 play and then 8:30 rest or 9:30 rest, you might not really have an idea in your head of what that time frame is. But here you can see how there's going to be a big chunk of time for rest and a big chunk of time for play, and that you don't have to keep looking at your clock. One last tip I have for you, and actually you've looked at the schedule so much you probably would like to look at puppies for a little bit. One last tip I have for you is that you go ahead and you list in your telephone. I go under the alarm section on my cell phone, and I list all the times where it says to feed the puppy and to potty the puppy and to play the puppy. I actually put the whole schedule in at first, and then I cut out things like I won't put rest in there. I'll just put potty, because I know that after potty time that the puppy will automatically be playing, and I know after playing time the puppy will, when it's tired out, will need to rest. So that's something, as long as I have the potty time in the schedule, then the other things will follow naturally. So go ahead and be sure to put the potty and food and water times on your schedule, so you never forget to feed your puppy and you don't forget to take him out within a reasonable period of time.
So again, if you have those in your phone, the alarm will go off and you won't have to look at your schedule all day. But I still recommend that you post this in your refrigerator or office or next to the pen, whatever's most convenient for you, so that you can refer to it often. And again, I usually start this schedule in earnest on the second or third day. Usually it's the third day. And I stick to it very, you would say, rigidly at first, because puppies are creatures of habit and they thrive on a schedule. And you will find your puppy will start letting you know when he needs to use the potty, and that communication is really what you want for ultimate potty training success. When your puppy knows that he communicates with you to go out to use the potty, and maybe he's whining or crying or jumping up and down against the pen, then and you respond, then he knows that getting your attention to use the potty is going to get him what he needs. Now, if he's crying during his rest time, well, don't respond to that. I mean, if you know that if he's been on this schedule and you know that it's that he's tired and he should be resting, then that you need to discern what the crying is about. If all his needs are met and it's not his time for his potty, well, then that's not the time to start picking him up, because then you might teach him that he can cry for anything at any time. But I have found that when my puppy's sleeping and he wakes up, if I'm on the telephone and maybe it's 11:15 and it's potty time, and I know on my schedule I have to take the puppy out, but I'm on the phone and I'm trying to schedule an appointment. Well, if my puppy starts crying, then I need to say, excuse me, I'll have to call you back, and then you take your puppy out. And don't miss those times if your puppy is crying and you know that it's time for him to potty, because that's important. You got to keep to the schedule. So hopefully that helps you out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you about. I think that pretty much covers it. Again, if you're working, then it's a good idea to have somebody come a few times during the day. This will get easier as time goes on, but in the beginning it's a good idea to have someone to help to keep your puppy on that schedule. And yeah, so what time is it now? Right here it's 12:30, and my puppies had their playtime. They're on a different schedule right now because they were playing a little earlier when they should have been resting, because as you know, I started this video a little bit ago. So anyway, yeah, well, good luck to you. If you have any questions, be sure to write the comments in the box, and hopefully I can do a better video if I've missed something. But I wish you all the best luck, and be sure to ask me any questions if you are having any trouble with the schedule. I found it's worked for every puppy I've ever had, and my puppies have all potty trained very successfully. What I wanted to mention was that their bladders are not fully controlled, that they aren't mature. So you can't have a fully potty trained puppy, meaning your puppy, even though he's cognitively fully formed in his brain by 7 weeks and he's capable of learning lots of things, he's not going to have this habit. This habit will take at least a month to get in place, and then your puppy is going to be trying to use the potty at those times. However, his bladder is not fully formed. So a lot of people do tell me that between 4 and 5 months their puppy is fairly reliable. So if you have kept the schedule very consistently, then between 4 and 5 months your puppy can be very reliable as long as you continue the schedule. Do not give your puppy more freedom too early, because that's the biggest mistake people make with potty training, is they don't keep with the confinement. So until your puppy is very solid with potty training, meaning even if you forgot to take them out, they would let you know and they would hold their bladder. That usually doesn't come until around 6 months. Until your puppy is very, very reliable, do not do away with the pen or the crates. I like to keep my puppy at least using the crates most of their life, because there's always a time when you need to travel or someone comes to visit and you want to keep your puppy confined. The pens sometimes take up a lot of space, so those don't always stay up as long as the crate will be used, but I would say usually around 6 months your puppy doesn't need the pen as much. If you work every day and you leave your puppy for long periods of time, then yes, always put your puppy in a pen if you're going to be gone for a longer period of time, because they can only be in their crate for as long as every month of their age. So at 8 weeks they can be in a crate for 2 hours. At 12 weeks they could be there for 3 hours, and it goes on, but that's a maximum of 4 hours. So if you're gone for 8 hours of the day, your puppy should not be in a crate longer than 4 hours during the day. Your puppy should be in a pen at least, so he has the ability to go around, get some water, use the potty, play with the toys. So just keep that in mind, that you can't, that's why we have on the schedule playtime, and that's outside of the pen, and rest time, which is pen time or crate time. So yes, just be understanding that when he's in rest, that means he's confinement, and that'll help you for your long term with your potty training. So good luck to you all, and have a great day. Bye-bye.